Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Stories from the Earth. My name is Jennifer. Today we have a fabulous friend of mine from England. So we're going across the pond today. Her YouTube channel is Madwitch. Oh, you can now see the boxes behind me. Woohoo! More books and tarot decks if anyone wants to know, all herb books. Hello, Nancy. How are you? Hello. So we are live on YouTube and as well as the Stories from the Earth Facebook group. All the information, if you are interested in joining that group, is in the description. Anyway, so yes, she goes by Madwitch. Her name is Giselle. And before we bring her on, I'm just gonna do an intro and tell everyone why we're doing these interviews. So yeah, so the practice of herbalism is as diverse and dynamic as each individual herb and each individual herbalist. There are many ways to be an herbalist and many ways to interact with the plant world. Each herbalist takes their own path. This series explores the many ways to be an herbalist, who an herbalist is, as well as a discussion on herbalism today and where herbalism might be going in the future. So we are taking a little different slant today and diving into the more magical aspect of herbs. I mean, we'll be also talking about the medicinal side, but yeah, so super excited. So let's bring her on. Please feel free if you have any questions for Giselle, leave them in the comments. Try to put them in all caps so I can see them. I'm not sure how many people are going to be here today. So awesome. All right. Hello.
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Nancy. We're a little coven of three.
Yeah. Well, I have 5 people who are currently watching us. So
that's lovely. Okay, yeah. Fair enough.
So,
not too much pressure then.
No. We're just went up by 1. Not too much pressure. No pressure
no
here.
Pressure.
No pressure. No pressure. So how are you?
I'm good. I've got all my books out because
nice. We were going to ask you about them.
Yeah, I know. Look, piled up behind me. My God, they're everywhere. But yeah, no, I'm good. I'm in a really good place, and I can't complain. I took my glasses off because of the reflection, but I cannot see a thing. So
no.
So yeah. Right. Some of my girls are in here. Hi, Jamie. I won't be able to answer everyone because I'm going to focus on you. So if there are any questions, I'm going to go through you for that.
Okay. All right. Cool. Or if I miss anything and you catch it, let's see. Roots of Rocks and Blooms.
Hi, Louise.
B. Heather Foley. Hello. Welcome, everybody.
Woo-hoo!
Awesome. So, yeah. So, I know you have your coffee.
My witchy mug. Yeah, I have.
Lovely mug.
I know, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, witch's brew. That's really cute.
I have actually got a brew with me as well, but I needed coffee. Yeah. That was, it was that or wine.
Well, maybe a little. If we had this a little later in the evening for you, we would do wine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right? Need a little coffee.
Behave myself. I am going to behave myself today.
No, it's like, but it's okay. It's okay if you don't. But we won't tell, right, guys?
It's all right. We're girls together. I'm cool.
I am drinking Tulsi tea.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, also known as holy basil.
Yeah, that's the name we don't have in England. We don't call it Tulsi.
You call it holy basil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's from India, and it's a adaptogen which helps you deal with stress, and it's the only one that you actually use the leaf part of the plant. The rest you use like the roots. So I just really like it. It's lovely. It's like I don't like basil too much, but like for some reason the Tulsi basil, it's also called Tulsi basil, so I like it too. So I always like to drink it. But
is it like the annual basil? You got me saying it now. We call it basil, but does it go? Is it like an annual that dies off in the winter? Because ours doesn't last.
I'm not sure. Okay. I mean, I could look. No, currently I don't. I have like a little balcony with like
that's nice.
3 plants.
So that's fine.
Yeah. And hopefully one day I'll have a lot of space where I can just like let the mint go like crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can hold on, we can look that up.
I agree with Louise. Wine is medicinal. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Definitely.
Not another book I can't.
Oh, sorry. This is a real good book. The organic. We'll get to books, but organic medicinal farmer. Even if you don't like want to grow herbs on like a large scale farm, it tells you how to grow medicinal herbs. Like you can just grow.
I actually got my mint up. I picked a load from the pot yesterday, and I dried it, and I'm just scrunching it in my hand and enjoying the scent of it.
I love it.
This is a spearmint one.
Woo!
It's really fun, actually. So a friend from upstate gives me oodles of Tulsi. I don't know why we have different names for it in England. Sometimes it's really hard to know when you get a recipe and you use different names, and I have to run around trying to find out what they are.
Yeah, so that's where you would use the Latin name.
Yeah.
You would check that first, but we call it like, see in the book it's Tulsi / holy basil. So Heather says it's an annual. It recedes easy.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Heather.
Heather is the knowledge. Her garden is amazing. I love your garden, Heather.
Yes, we do too. Yes.
Yeah, mint's really good for prosperity as well, isn't it? And protection. They pretty much do everything, I think.
Mint.
Yeah, I like all the different mints, but I have to have them in pots.
Oh, Roman's here. Hi, Roman. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, so if I like don't know the common name, then you go to the Latin name, and that should help. Hopefully they've provided you with the Latin name. So yeah.
You're welcome, Heather. We love your garden.
We do.
You're organized compared to mine.
I love yours though. I also love yours.
Mine's crazy.
I love how it's so crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
wild like me.
All right, so so we're gonna get to witchy books, herbal books. We're gonna get to that definitely. So we're gonna start.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna start with witchcraft.
Right.
So what is a eclectic solitary witch? Because that is what you define yourself as.
Yeah, and mad, but yeah.
And mad, yeah.
No, eclectic for me, solitary because I'm not part of a coven, and I tend to like to do my own thing. Eclectic because I take from everywhere and anywhere. So a lot of people will identify witchcraft as being Wiccan, but there is also traditional witchcraft, and mostly traditional witchcraft is based on small pockets of people that would follow certain traditions. So especially in England, where you'd have small villages, that they would have maybe that traditional witchcraft would grow out of that. Obviously, I don't know what it's like in the US, but I don't follow any one particular path, and I don't define as Wiccan at all. I do like bits of Wiccan, but it's because it was basically brought together by Gerald Gardner from all different types of witchcraft. It's kind of a sort of mishmash of everything, whereas I prefer to go back to source. So I pick whatever suits me, really. And it seems to be quite common with a lot of witches that there are a lot of solitaries. Yeah, I mean, there are covens, but I certainly don't know of one round where I am. But I don't follow structure very well, so I do my own thing.
You just do your own thing.
I do. I think that's it.
Nice. I don't know how it is in the US. We don't have like this. We have like a lot of small towns, but I feel like it's different vibes and still different than what you have over there because of the fact that we are so much of a newer country. Like your towns probably go back, your villages probably go back, gosh, years, thousands of like hundreds of years.
Although I suspect they migrated to the US, so you're going to have that,
right? Definitely,
but not in perhaps some of the pockets in England will be very witchy even now, I guess. But yes, Heather says solitary pagan witch. Yeah, I think pagan's a really good word for witchcraft actually, and one that I do use. But then I use earth witch as well because I associate very much with my element, which is Virgo, which is earth. So, and that's exactly what my nature tends to be, in the earth, Mother Nature. So makes perfect sense to me.
That's what the Heather said, and I was like, yes, that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know if you might have answered this, but if you hadn't, so what is your definition of a witch?
Oh yeah.
Or do we answer that already?
Mother Nature. I think that's one of the one thing that when I came into it was that the word witch and witchcraft it does still have a very negative vibe if you're not in this circle at all. And people genuinely, I mean, religion did a really good assassination of witchcraft. And it isn't until you actually study it and go back and you peel away this falseness that you realize that it is nature-based. For me, that's what witchcraft is. And people I genuinely think, sadly, do still believe that if you identify as a witch, you must worship Satan. When witches don't even believe in Satan, it's not a thing. It's a religious throw in, and it's just crazy. And the more I read back, the more I found the history of witchcraft fascinating, and also the fact that everything comes from that respect and love of nature and of the earth and the planet. And of course, in those days, we didn't have the technology we have now, so everything was based on the stars, the sun, the seasons. And I think we almost lived in a quality of time that is lost to us now. We've lost that wonder of just sitting in a field or in grass and looking at a daisy and loving it for the beauty of what it is. And we've lost that. And witchcraft and witches, for me now, are bringing that back. And given the state of where we are in the world, I think there is so much need for witchcraft and witches. And I know a lot because obviously, I do have a Facebook group for witches, but there's a lot of them who are still really not sure about coming out. They don't feel comfortable to own that. And I'm really, really proud to call myself a witch. But my background was Catholicism. I was religious right up until very late, only over the last up until about 50, I was in religion, and I didn't know that a lot of what I was doing wasn't necessarily was more witchcraft in general, but I didn't use the title, I didn't use the name. And I think it's kind of sad that even now, and though it's better, it's still almost considered, people will either laugh at you and think you're mad, which even my children kind of did. And you know, the name Madwitch was my husband's nickname for me, and I don't think he meant it in a nice way. So you know, it's like
kind of like, you're mad woman, what are you doing?
Yeah, you know, you're a witch and you're mad. But so to own it now for me is a really big deal. And one of the things that I got from coming out into that was how important it was for me to support other witches so that they could equally show their nature, because it is witches that will save this planet, and herbalists, you know, the whole, it's a big umbrella. I'm just talking about one bit.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel that, you know, I mean, I feel like very safe, you know, visiting your channel, your lives. I feel like you've created a very safe environment for people to, like, you know, be able to take those first steps if they're feeling uncomfortable about.
I was at Amber's live, and that's how the New Moon Witches Facebook group started, because there were women of a certain age, not just my age, but older women. The youngsters are really good with the internet. They don't have a problem with it. They know how to work it. Well,
no, it's my cat.
But you know, oh, how lovely! Oh, bring him in.
Let's see if I can get Eugene. He's hanging.
Oh, so for me, the witches were saying that, you know, they felt they didn't have anywhere that they felt comfortable or safe to talk and ask questions. So it was really important to me to create that group so that they could. And you know, we're
no, he's not coming. I'm trying to get him. Sorry.
Oh, bless. I miss not having a cat.
Oh.
So, but never mind. So yeah, I'm all for witches holding, but you know, herbalist, it's all part of the same thing. Not everybody does identify as being a witch, and I get that. I have a very good friend who does tarot. She's absolutely lovely, but she doesn't call herself a witch. She calls herself maybe a kitchen witch, but for her it's not in the title. So I get that. I own it because, you know, I love it, but not everybody feels comfortable to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we all sort of have these different paths or different things that feel right, or almost like different focuses, but you know, different things pull us.
Important.
No. Yeah, so yeah, all the link to the new moon witches, right? Did I get that right?
It's on the Facebook. It's New Moon Witches.
New Moon Witches. That's
and yeah, I will have to get the link up. I don't know if it's around, but I love that I'm a unicorn alien. I love that.
I'm gonna put the link up, but it is in the description as well.
That's absolutely fine, but it's just somewhere for people to. Oh look, yeah, it's just somewhere. It's somewhere for people that want to be. You know, you don't have to actually put content up, but it's nice for them to have a season. And we do the lives. Although, unfortunately, I'm not sure about this next live because Karen's had to drop out. So I'm not sure whether we'll do a question and answers or whether we'll leave it till the next one. But it's just somewhere for witches to go, you know.
Yeah. So there are lives on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
As well. Yes.
Once a month.
Once a month, okay, which are great.
That's enough for me. I don't know how you're all doing these lives. I'm like, oh.
I don't. You know what? So basically, I never thought that this interview series would ever take off the way it did. Like, I was like, oh yeah, you know, whatever, because nothing sort of ever has, like in the way that it has. And then my friend, Deanna, she was the first person I interviewed, and she took it upon herself to post that I was looking for people to interview on her personal Facebook page, and it just sort of blew up. Like, I live in an area with a lot of herbalists.
Oh, that's
and
good.
they just were like, I want to talk, and I was just amazed. I was like, did no one ever ask you guys if you wanted to talk? Like,
yeah, when you first asked me, you said to me, would I come on? And then the next time, and I said, yeah, we'll definitely do it. And then the next time you were like, oh my God, there's this list of people who want to come. And I'm like, yes, absolutely fine. Don't worry about me. You can put me in whenever.
And I was like, November is such a long time away, and here we are.
It was fine, honestly. Oh, bless you, Jamie. Thank you. I'm glad you like the witch and waffling, because all I do is waffle.
No, I love it too. Yes, even though I have to watch them in the replay most of the time. But
we have to get Jamie for the camera.
Yes. Does Jamie have a?
No, she doesn't. No. I'm teasing her mercilessly. I'm all for getting my witch's front of camera.
Yeah, it's not bad once you. It just stings a little bit afterwards, so you get used to it.
I don't watch the replays.
No, I don't either. I can't do it. I was like, no, I can't. No. The interviews are a little like, so I have a live herbal book club.
Yeah. I keep meaning to get to it, but I'm always out of sync, and by the time I get to the evening, I'm flagging. I'm so bad for that, but I love you. I do pop in, and I do love your books. But trouble is, it's like another book. I need another book every time. It's like, oh, another book.
So, but the thing is, we have been on the same book for almost a year.
Oh wow!
So it's a really slow book club.
Oh, I like
and
that.
now it's slower because I'm doing it twice a month because I'm working full time. So basically, you don't need to own the book, and we read a section. I read a section and we discuss it. So it's real slow, real chill, real casual. Like you just show up. But the time and date keeps changing. So
for us, we don't have one either. There's no regular pattern. So.
No, I mean there was for a long time. I try to keep one, but it's just like my work keeps shifting and everything keeps happening this year. It's been kind of crazy, but so we're gonna try it the second and fourth Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if anyone's interested in a herbal book club, you just have to show up, and you can buy the book if you want, but there's like no pressure. And literally like if you buy the book, we're going to be on it for probably about a year.
That I like.
Time to read. You can read ahead. We read like a tiny section each time. So like, yeah, because I wasn't having time to read. Like I don't have any time to read.
I know.
So I mean, I get at work I get Audible so I can listen, but not all the books have an audio version.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. But anyway, so that's why I did it. But to get back to this whole the interview thing, yeah, it just blew up, and I was like, I'm gonna have to do 2 a month. So but we're sort of winding down. So I'm probably gonna go just to once a month with these interviews, and I'll have to find a few more people. So if anyone's interested in talking about herbalism in any shape or form, yeah, hit me up. So just contact me anyway. My contacts are in the description. Cool, awesome.
I can't remember where we got to in the questions.
Well, I think we answered that one. So you told us a little bit already about your like journey to witchcraft, but like, you tell us a little bit more, and then why did you feel like you wanted to become a witch? You know,
it started with tarot. Doesn't everything?
yes.
I mean, I've told this story, so probably most people know it, but for those who possibly don't, I was in a secondhand bookshop and I hadn't been in organized religion for a while. There was a book in there on tarot. It's probably somewhere in there. I should have got it out. And I don't know, I ummed and ahed, I picked it up, and I remember saying, I think I need to get the deck that goes with this, because I knew what tarot was, but I never had ventured down that path, and never even thought about reading it at all. So the worst thing is that once you open that door, there's no way back. It's a rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. And I went on YouTube, and I got YouTube for everything.
Yep.
Looked up tarot, looked up this deck that I'd got, and ended up, I did literally fall down the rabbit hole. It was that straightforward. Simon and Kelly from The Truth and Story, both of those were kind of out there at the time. And even then, Simon was actually I think he had under 1,000 subscribers then.
Wow.
I know. And I'd laugh because he'd come on and he'd have this pile of tarot boxes that he had to unbox, and I remember messaging him once and saying, how do you read with all these decks? So I kind of hovered in the background there for a while, and then I don't know why, I don't know what mad part of my brain decided this was a good idea, because I never would have done it, but I put myself front of camera, I did an intro, and I kind of threw it up there. And it really surprised me, to be honest, because I never thought I would have done that. And that kind of, but I think I did it because when you're connecting with people on social media, if you don't see their face, it's kind of hard to remember who they are. And I'm forever forgetting people. It's a terribly bad habit of mine. You know, I don't remember until I put a face and a name together. And then that kind of works for me. So I did this intro mainly for Simon, I think, to be fair.
I think I remember him prompting. I don't know if it was just you or if it was like just in general encouraging.
Yeah.
But I think I remember that, and I remember some of your videos.
And it was crazy. Yeah. I had a fringe in those days, and that was where it started. And I do remember a point at which I said, I'm never going into witchcraft. You know, that's not of no interest to me whatsoever. And I've said this before, never say never, because you know that when you do, something's going to happen. And I literally, it's a year, just over a year ago, and I was in the shower, and I can remember I was just doing what I usually do. We meditate in the shower, don't we? We do that kind of, you know, connecting with the water. And because I'm very much an earth witch, I do like the elements in my craft a lot. And I realized that I was connecting more and more and more with the elements, with the water, with the air. I love a blustery day. So I'm in the shower, and the next thing I know, I'm thinking it in my head, you know, that I dedicate myself to the goddess. And I'm like, where did that come from? And I knew the minute I'd said it, I couldn't take it back. It was there. And I think some of this will answer some of the questions I know that, you know, you've put forward. But I was a little bit, not mortified isn't quite the right word, but I took it very seriously, because I really didn't know where it came from. And once I knew that was what I wanted to do, it kind of all sort of fell into place. Bye, Jamie. Thanks for popping in. I found that my connection was with the earth. It was with plants. I've always loved nature anyway. I've always loved the whole garden, the trees. I'm a tree hugger, big tree hugger. So it kind of organically, naturally happened. And then once you start to connect with that, everything else opens up, and it's like you see everything with new eyes. And you know, like the Twilight, when she turns into the vampire and she sees everything in minute detail, you start to see everything very, very differently. So that was kind of where it started, and it snowballed from there. Yeah, I think it chooses you.
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah. Roots, rocks, and blooms. I think it chooses you to remember on a cellular level that you're a witch.
Yeah, because I think that's true. Everyone's a witch in a way. It's just how you connect with nature. It doesn't matter what you call yourself, like we said before. It is definitely that. It's in your blood, isn't it? It's in your DNA. It's yeah. You became who you are. Yeah, I completely agree, Heather.
I mean, we're from the earth, so it makes sense that we have a connection, and to try to, like, I think the further we try to get away from the connection, from whatever reason, the more kind of miserable and unhealthy, like, we just feel. I mean, I would love to be able to just sort of, go out in the field and, like, hang out with the daisies or whatever and just, like, la la la, and have some more of that time.
I
think it's really important. And I mean, I'm glad that I live in an area with a lot of nature, even in the city, because it's the small city in the mountains. So, but yeah, there's still a difference when you travel to more of a rural area, and you can just feel it. Like, it's like,
I think also, I mean, I'm very blessed. I do have access to nature here, and the lockdown that we've experienced has given me something I didn't have. God, I look really pink. I'm really warm. It's the light, actually. It's the candlelight. I'm not actually quite as flushed as I look. But the interesting part for me was that the more I connected with nature this year, the more my connection with trees developed a much stronger relationship. And now, as a result of that, I don't go wherever I go, I see the faces in trees. And obviously, Mags, the woodland hag, has got that lovely deck out, which
I saw it.
Yeah, celebrates the whole faces in trees thing. But it's really weird how that came about, because I never would have seen it before. Now it doesn't matter where I go, I know I connect with those trees. I know that they know me, because it's on that very deep level of the earth being connected and with Mother Nature. So are you even a witch if you're not rolling around in grass and dirt? Well, I do roll around in the leaves and the grass, but
I love being dirty,
But I also think that the more time I've spent in nature, the more I can appreciate nature in the less rural places, because I would tend to stay clear of, towns and cities. It's not my kind of energy. But once you've connected with nature, if you're in those environments, you suddenly see all the little weeds growing in the cracks, in the walls where the moss is growing. And suddenly you realize that what you thought was this concrete brick city is actually not at all. It's all subtly there. And I remember even here, I was walking in the grounds the other week, and I think I took a picture of it. I think I put it on Instagram, but there was a brick that had been completely covered in moss.
Ooh.
So, I think that you can have nature wherever you are. You just, once you've connected with it, it will then connect with you. And those little daisies are waving at you from the wall,
Yeah. So it's almost like, so we call it in herbalism the green wall. And when you look at, like, this is not in the town, but say you're like outside of a town, you're just looking at a bunch of green, it all looks the same. And when you start to learn the plants, you start to see that it's very different.
Yeah.
And then, yes, then you can see them other places. So you will start to notice that dandelion in the crack in the sidewalk. You will notice mugwort when you're driving down the highway real fast. You know?
Yeah, it's funny because now when we're driving around, I see the wild apples in you can be driving down the motorway and you'll just see this apple tree is just there, and it's literally covered in apples. Your mind is almost rewired so that you can see it. Thank you, Heather. I do feel a bit pink. She says I look lovely, but I think it is. I've got candles on. I think I just Thanks, Heather. Bless you. I love you to bits.
So it's almost like it's like because we are not taught the plants, we can't see them, which is really weird because they're like right there. But once you start learning, it's just like you're seeing through something, and you're like, or the facade breaks, and you're just like, look at this, and we had a house, and people were living in this house down the street from me, and they had like echinacea, and they had beautiful lemon balm, and they moved, and the new person came in, and they tore all that out, and I was just like, well, I know. And I was like, whoa. So it's just like you can tell that they don't know about the value of those plants.
But it's funny because the more I looked at my books today, the more I realized that they should do herbology as a criteria at school. Yeah. Because children have that wonderful childlike enthusiasm to go and pick the daisies, to blow the seeds from the dandelion, and instead of us encouraging that and teaching them, and that's I think where witchcraft really does come back into it, because it's the crones and the witches that teach the children to listen to the voice of the plants, whereas they go to school, they might do biology, but they're never going to learn about the properties or the astrological associations that go with these plants, or how to use them. And I know we've moved on with science, but equally everything stems back to herbs in the first place. So whatever chemicals we've got going on out there, it's all comes from that place where the plant was the original source. And when I looked at my books today, I thought, God, I just need to go back to school and do herbology, because for me, everything is in the books, and I don't have that little old wise woman around the corner who's going to teach me how to, differentiate between one fungi and a toadstool and one plant and another,
So two things. I put a link up for there's a board game for kids called Wildcraft.
Oh wow!
Check it out. So you might be interested for your grandkids.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's here in the States. That's where the company is based, but it is on sale for.
That's really good.
$25. I don't know, but yes. So I'll remember to put the link. I can send you the link if
that'd be brilliant.
If you can't find it. Yeah. But anyway, so for anyone else, also this place learningherbs.com, they have some herbal online courses. They also have a YouTube channel.
That's good.
Some little introductory stuff. But okay, so unfortunately, I think that you're so lucky to live where you are, because it's not officially legal here to practice herbalism in the form. Yeah, it's illegal. You cannot.
Really?
You cannot go to you cannot go to an herbalist you can go to an herbalist, but it's all under the umbrella of supplements and like vitamins.
Is it illegal to do witchcraft then?
I don't know if it's officially illegal or not.
That's interesting.
So that one I don't know.
But not maybe be a herbalist.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that call themselves herbalists. You can go to people as herbalists. You have to sign a lot of disclaimers. They can't actually, because you can't actually go to college and get a degree in herbology. And
you can here, to be fair. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think we have online courses, don't we? That's probably where we get ours. There might be. I don't know. Maybe there probably are, but I haven't. There might be expensive. I wouldn't know. I haven't. All I can do is get a book out. I haven't done a course.
I think you can go to university over there. Okay. I know it's legal, right, to practice as an herbalism in.
I didn't. We don't have the same restrictions that you do, for sure.
Right, yeah.
But I think if I had my time again, and I just think that children need it. We need to bring it back for sure. But yeah, Louise, you're right. It is quite scary how much witchcraft it's illegal.
Yeah. Since I'm not as involved in that world here, I can't speak to it. I hope it's not illegal. We have a witch shop down the road, which maybe one day I'll be able to do like one of Simon's style tours when we get done with COVID.
That'd be wonderful. Yeah, I love it.
The Raven and Crone. So yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and this other lady just opened up like a crystal tarot store, like about 45 minutes away. So that's interesting. But yeah, our town is very like crystal, hippie, witchy, metaphysical, and then we also have a large like Christian like side. Right. So it's basically but it's definitely if you want to but we have a lot of the other, so a good dose of both. You can find almost anything here, and
that's pretty good.
But yeah, because I was thinking about when I found I forget where I found out that my like student loans, if I wanted to go to England and study herbs, I could, but it's not even taught here in the universities. So, it's I agree. I wish it was. I wish there was like more of a general more emphasis on the importance of. Like not even just like they're good for medicine, they're good for food. Like it's a good food source. There's so many like places that are considered food deserts, and like if they knew how to like eat the dandelions that just grow there, I mean, sure, it's probably got like a lot of chemicals from the road if it's growing by the road. But even when I used to live in Brooklyn, and everyone had their little patch of backyard. And you can grow plenty back there. And they're very low maintenance, and they don't cost hardly anything. And, so the Cedar Creole herbalists in the UK often study chemistry. Oh, okay.
I sucked at chemistry.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't very good at that. I was not good at chemistry. But I think that, again, that's also down to how you're taught. And I think in my day, things were taught very regimented. It wasn't, if you get a good teacher who brings the subject to life, then it can be something completely different. I mean, I started a herb garden this year, a magical herb garden, but I agree with you. I think it's really important that any plant has, the culinary uses, how to get the most out of them from every angle, because it's still really important that it's not even just herbs. I can't identify as many trees in England as I should be able to. I'm probably better with my plants because I've been a gardener a lot longer than I was a vegetable grower, for want of a better word. But yeah, there is so many trees I still need to learn to identify, which is why Instagram is quite useful, because if I put one up, then I go, come on guys, I don't know what this is. Yeah. Somebody will know what I don't. So it's quicker than getting all my books out.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to identify one of the trees by me, and it took me forever. It was a oh my gosh, it's Norway spruce tree.
Oh, right.
It's this tree that it's a fir tree, and the needles go like up, you know. We have so many of them here, and I was like, what is that tree? So I agree. I would definitely love to know, you know, more of the plants, you know. And
did you take some of the branches and put them in your incense?
No, I should. Right now I'm just doing straight up mugwort. But I would really like to sort of branch out. And
that was good. That was really good. I think we forget. I mean, I go around, there's a few spruces here, and sometimes I will break some of the lower branches off if you can get them, because obviously some of them are really high up, and just crush them in either to incense or just crush them in your hands, and you get that really strong fragrance. It's just amazing, and it's really uplifting, because a lot of those pine trees are really good for cleansing, and they have that wonderful sense that just fills the room.
Yeah, I mean, I like literally like go, I do use the sap.
Okay.
Some of my salves, because it has like drawing properties and stuff like that.
Wow.
But basically when I do, everyone has like really lovely like front gardens here. I live in a, hold on one second. D is, so D, I'll answer your question. D is telling me that there are plant identification apps that you can get.
Okay.
But I would definitely only use them as part of your tools for identification, because they can like misidentify. So I use it, and then also use your identification books, or like go online to like what Giselle was talking about. So, you know, you could use like a field guide, and ask other people to help narrow down. So I felt like I had to, like, that was going to be hard to type the answer, but now I can't. So I got ADD, you guys.
You were saying you use the sap in your
I do. I use it in my lip balm, one of my lip balms. It's a lumberjack lip balm, so it's like cedar, and because in the lip balms you only use a tiny bit of essential oils because they're really small, strong. So I try to add more like things that add scent, but not. Anyway, so I use it on one of my lip balms.
You actually take the sap from the tree, then? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, you go and take a little notch of it.
Well, I have a tree that is wounded. I didn't wound it.
It's good to know.
It's leaking, and I just collect it. And not all of it. But and I leave a lot for the tree. But and it's got this huge gash, and it's still like sort of leaking all this pitch. And you can use pine, but I have the spruce tree by me, and and I looked it up and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really sticky, and it smells amazing. It smells really good.
I'm going to have to go around all my trees now and see if any of them are leaking, so I can have a little bit, just because I mean, you can't kind of like start hacking away at the tree, but it would be nice if you could find a bit that leaked.
There is a proper way to do it if you can't find a tree. Okay. And I briefly did a search, so I don't you have to look it up, but I know that there is a proper way. But if you can find one that's already had some sort of and the best way to get it off your hands is use oil. So take like an olive oil or whatever kitchen oil you have. Before you use soap and water, rub it on your hands and it'll come pretty much off, and then wash your hands. Pro tip there. Because it's super sticky, it gets everywhere. Yes.
So I'm going to contact you when I go out looking for sap.
Yes, please. So yeah, it's drying. But yeah, I had something stuck in my foot and I didn't know what it was, and I put some on there and a Band-Aid for a couple of days, and it helped it come out. So it was really cool.
That's really good.
Yeah, I was like this little, I don't know what it was. It was like this little hard piece of something. And I'm like, how did it get in my foot? So it was, yeah.
That's a really good thing to know. I really like that. And I suppose it's a bit like that sugaring technology, well, not technology, that technique you use for waxing, which is the same thing, isn't it? Because that's what they use, is that. And I remember doing that in the beginning before I found wax, but I think I prefer the more natural approach. So something for the future. See, that's the thing. I think that's the eclectic side of my witchcraft, is that although I have a background in growing as a gardener, I've grown stuff. I think that herbs have a whole different magical side to them that takes some learning. So, and things like that are great. I'm going to go out and try that. So when you see an Instagram post and I've got it in my hair and I'm stuck to myself,
right. Just remember,
that will always be me.
Grabbing a kitchen oil or whatever, it doesn't have to be.
Stuck all over. I can see it now. It's not.
It's so sticky. But if you use if you don't do that, it'll just smear. It'll just
yeah.
It won't come up.
This picture of tissue paper and my hair, and yeah. I know it.
So I don't know if it works like the sugaring technique. I don't know. I mean, I think it's mostly for wounds and stuff like that. I love to my knowledge is often bits and pieces, and I haven't been able to I don't have a little old lady in the woods either to teach me, and I would love that as well. So I'm still looking. I'm
a little old lady in the woods, but I don't know anything. I'm just wandering around the woods and
I wish I could come over. We could just have a wander together. That would be fun. But we call it wandering and waffling.
That sounds like a good. So the trouble is, if I try to do a YouTube video of me wandering, I guarantee I will fall down a hole, and all you will hear is me yelling out and the camera going fly and tripping over something or falling down a hole.
Well, that's why I have to come over when we get out of jail. when we're when there's no more pandemic. And hold the camera.
I don't know if you saw, but off track a bit, but I got mega excited the other day because I was doing my usual walk, and I always finish with my mother beech tree. And for whatever reason, I veered off in a different direction to where I normally go. And literally in the middle of this long grass was this wing, just the wing of this bird. We think it's a bird of prey, but I don't know for sure. And it is just lying there. There's no carcass, there's no bird, there's nothing but hi bee, but this wing.
Hi bee.
And I'm like, oh my God, there's a wing. And I'm jumping around, and I scoop up this wing, and it's pouring with rain, and I run home with it. Well, I didn't run, but I got home with it. And I'm like, and my husband's looking at me as if to say, the whole house now is filled with dead things or skulls, or there's feathers everywhere. But to me, it was a gift from the goddess. It was this wonderful creature, this beautiful bird that needed to be celebrated in its death. You know, I have this incredible wing that I want to do something with. You know, I don't know quite what, but it's a celebration of its life, and that's what happens now. I'm, you know, a couple of years into my witching, and I see even something like that, and I look at it differently to how I would have done once. So
yeah, I'm gonna put up a video. Dee was asking. Wait, hold on. What was that? Is that better? Okay, all right. I was getting some feedback. Dee was asking how I make my infuse my how I get the spruce pitch sap into the lip balm, and this is a video about how to do that. So
okay. I can do that. I need to watch that.
How to infuse it into an oil, and then I use the oil because it's a little different than how I make my other oil. So anyway, there was I knew a friend of mine, and I forget what kind of animal it was, and she just I think it was even raining, but it was hit by a car. It might have been a wolf. It might have been I don't know, a fox. But she pulled over on the side of the road. I remember it was a crazy story on the highway. Got this animal. Literally, like, she did the skinning and she was.
Oh God, that's amazing.
So it was a very similar way that that was.
We both could do. People go look at you as if you're crazy, but then they'll go home and get their chicken out the fridge and stuff it. So I'm like, what? Or cut it up and put it into a saucepan and think absolutely nothing of it. You know, why is that different, really? Apart from, and if you go back far enough, you know, we had to pluck our own birds before they were done by the supermarket for us. Bye, Nancy. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, although I have never plucked anything,
me neither.
I did practice on this pigeon that I found, so I have had a go at wings before. So this is clearly an area that I'm going to carry on doing because they keep dropping out the sky. What can I say? Clearly.
I don't know. Okay. Hold on. Yep. Please check out Yarrow Willard with Harmonic Arts. He literally grew up doing what he does. Nice. A YouTube channel. We will. Yes, it's always good to know more good herbal channels. I'm definitely trying to encourage more. So more talk, more dialogue, you know, about herbs and plants and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I think you know, for us in this country, it was a very oral tradition, the herbs, and we pulled from you've got Native American, you've got the Scottish, Irish, you've got apparently you have some influence from like South America, Mexico. Here in where I live, you know, in the southern United States, what we call like Southern traditional herbalism, I believe. So like it's kind of a mix, but it started out as oral. So I think a lot of it hasn't been written down, and so a friend of mine wants to I don't know, we're really interested in like trying to find more information and try to you know, try to see if there are any, like, I think there are some people out there like willing to teach some of that.
I think the Native American is good. That, I mean, they must have the longest history of verbal culture when it comes to America, and personally I think that is a lovely, they have such a beautiful way with them about how they connect.
I would love to ask that. I just feel uncomfortable because as white people, we've taken so much from their culture that I do not want to take. I feel like I cannot take and ask. I feel unworthy of that, but I would love it. I would love to learn that. That would be great. One of the Benjamin Kitchen, who I had on here, he got taught way in the 70s by an Indian, and I thought that was really neat. So do African Americans have an herbal culture? Herbal oral culture? I believe they probably do. But I cannot speak to that. I'm, of that. I had a lot of African Americans when I went to herb school in my class, but I never got a chance to really ask them in detail. So there's definitely a lot of I should probably see if someone's written a book. There's definitely a lot of avenues that I haven't pursued. My brain is died.
To be fair, it's. I mean, first of all, it's a big country, so I get that, and I think the trouble is when you start to try and bring all of that together, and it's coming from other places as well. That's huge. Just studying, I imagine, Native American or Mexican or any of the African side of it, is probably a lifetime in itself, isn't it? It's like here for me, although I've studied a little bit of I'm familiar with my garden, I'm familiar with my plants, and I know quite a lot of the herbs that I use. The actual study of it is a lifetime. If I wanted to do it properly, I would want to do moss because I absolutely love moss with a passion. The herbs and fungi and trees. There's a whole lifetime's worth of study, and I still wouldn't know everything. So I kind of think it's a bit like with the witchcraft. You can spend a lot of time reading, but the problem is you have to also get your head out the books and physically be out there. And it's very easy for me to sit in here with my books, but as much as I can retain some of it, what I get more out of is being out there and sitting amongst the leaves or just listening to the wind. And I think that's what witchcraft is. It's that feeling of bringing all those elements together, and then you can sit and look at a plant. There's a lovely book that I know we haven't got onto books. I don't know what we're like for time, but
we are whatever time.
there's a beautiful book called The Sensory Herbal Handbook. Now this is really beautiful, and each section she does this. She picks there's not a huge amount in here, but it's the certain plants and certain herbs. And so I have a great association with elder, and it's what she writes is this beautiful piece for each of these plants that she picks up, and it starts with I am elder, my name is Samantha Bucoso Black, your elder know me the crone. And I just love the way they write and it's like a poem, which I'm not going to sit and read out now, but it really is such a gorgeous book. And it goes into
looks amazing.
There's even recipes in here. It picks up on autumn rituals. It talks about how to work with the seeds. It's just a beautiful book. And when it does that with plants, when it takes the name of a plant. I mean, here, fennel, they've got the Latin name. There's this beautiful drawing, the astrological sign, your sensory experience. When you take that kind of a book and it brings plants and herbs to life in so many more ways, and I just think that's why I love witchcraft. That's why, whether you're a herbalist or whether you know, it all comes under the same umbrella for you, it's just so beautiful to have that opportunity to read these books and get so much more just from one plant, you know, things that you might not have done. But
yeah, I think that's why it's so hard to teach herbalism. It's sort of like it's very hands-on.
Yeah, it's not a classroom, isn't it? You want to take them all out into the woods and be grabbing things and showing them, you know, like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, but like, you know, you're like just when we were talking about like how it's hard to remember somebody without seeing their face. Like it's hard to remember a plant if you don't know what it looks like in person. So I think it's much easier for all of us.
Sorry, I'm just going to.
No, that's okay. Hello.
I think that's interesting because the Cedar Creel has talked about, you know, how a lot of religious people are still very superstitious when it comes to witchcraft, and yet witchcraft is fundamentally just nature, and that is why it's so important to me to get back to that place where people actually do respect nature, because we don't respect it. We're not doing anywhere near enough to protect our planet. And so I'm definitely the gobby witch at the front of the line advocating witchcraft. Yeah, can always rely on me for that.
All right, cool.
Well, I think we lost. I don't know where we got to in the question. Sorry,
but we I don't have any time. You know, like do you? I mean,
I'm fine. I'm fine. Whatever. I'm
okay.
going.
All right. I mean, you know, at some point, my ADD will kick in really bad. I think it's already done that, but you know, but I have up until, you know, probably 2, which is like a 7.
I don't know where we got to. I think we must be nearly. I don't know which question did we do last? I've lost the track.
We did question. We were on the why did you want to become a witch? But we definitely. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I feel like
we've definitely covered other bits, haven't we?
We have, but I think that, you know, I mean, I think that's you know, we're having conversation, so you know, that's what happens. That's you know, I mean, we're
I'm easily distracted.
Totally fine. Me too. You know, I put the link to the book up. So it's at Amazon, but there's probably other places to find it. So before we just two more questions on witchcraft, and then we'll jump into some more herbal questions. So, and then books. Yes. So so any advice for anyone interested in learning about witchcraft? It's definitely a lot easier because you have the internet. And we were discussing earlier that, like, without YouTube and everything else, the bar was higher way back in the day, unless you knew somebody who.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think my advice, because I am still a newbie. I mean, I've talked about this on my channel as well, how I kind of got into it and where I'm kind of at. But I think there are a lot of witches who, of my age, who I would say are coming out of hibernation, because the planet is doing what it needs to do. It is recalling anybody who has an affinity with nature and the planet, and that's what witchcraft is to me. So when you talk about how would you get into it, well, I have a lot of books that I haven't read or I've dipped into, but I think it depends where your calling is. But I think it's really important, especially for the youngsters. There's a lot of youngsters out there who love the romanticism of witchcraft, and I think sometimes they don't see the mundane side of it because it's a bit boring, but actually it's the foundation on what you hope these witches will become. So I think there is a drawback to older witches to come out of hibernation, to share their knowledge, or to come forward and, you know, share their experience. And Ren, bless her, is a wonderful example of that for me. Sorry, Ren, putting you on the spot. Love you, but she's just such a beautiful witch with this lovely energy, and it's the most natural thing for her, like breathing. And I think, bye, B. Thank you so much for coming in. I think that.
Bye, Roman.
I love that she's off in her spaceship. Wonderful. I think that I'd like to see young witches
a long way.
Follow some of the older witches, and I'd like to see, as much as I would say read the books, I would also say you need to have you can have a mentor. I had a lovely mentor for a year, and she was very much more knowledgeable than me. But what I found was that I had to follow my own path, and it didn't necessarily, I couldn't do the structure. So I think my advice for witches is really go with your gut, go with what feels right. And if a ritual is too much for you, then that's fine. I don't do a lot of rituals. I mean, I can remember saying in different things, I don't do a lot of spellcraft. I don't do a lot of rituals. And I remember my husband said, well, what kind of a witch do you think you call yourself? And I'm like, well, because I do what's natural for me. And sometimes I just want to go and sit under a full moon and just be still with that energy. I don't want to sit there with my candles blazing, my hair burning because I've dipped over and caught myself alight, and I need to remember all these words I've got to say. I want my connection, and that's why I'm more of an earth witch, because that connection is, when I first started, I was, when we went into lockdown, I was drawn to the elder mother tree, and the elder mother tree drew me into a sacred grove of very old apple trees. And I knew very quickly what the purpose of that was. And just sitting there, drawing up the energy from that old orchard, that memory that it had created in its own magical space, was essential for my practice. But it wasn't elaborate. There was no running around naked. Sorry, if that's,
that's your thing.
don't want to alarm anybody, but I wasn't running around naked, and I wasn't creating all this big magic. It just wasn't a thing for me. It's a very, very natural thing. And I think even to the point where you can be cooking your meal and just respecting where all the ingredients have come from. That's the key for me. Yeah.
It's almost like you're just it's
living with the planet.
Part of who you are. So you're just sort of doing this all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
So I have to learn. I'm still learning. I'm going to be learning for the rest of my life, but then who isn't? Even the most experienced witches are doing it. And I think the interesting thing about witchcraft for me is that you have to find your own morality. You can't rely on a religion that says you must do this, you mustn't do that. But if you get, if you don't do it right, come say sorry and then go back out and do it all again. You've got to be your own morality. You've got to walk your own path, and you've got to address your shadow side because it's part of you and balance it. So it's an amazing path that I fully recommend, and I have never been happier than I've been since I found witchcraft. Okay. So Louise says we are having a conversation in Circle a few weeks ago. How TikTok, what's TikTok has become a place for young witches. See, I'm too old for this. The community has lost some of its seasoned witches. What do you mean, Louise? When you say we've lost some of them, where have they gone?
Or maybe some of the younger witches are having trouble finding.
Okay, right.
The community.
What is TikTok?
It's an app. It's an app where people I don't have it. People record themselves singing, doing things, very short format.
I think my daughter did it once ages ago. It's quite weird. How weird. But the youngsters want all the spells. They want all the magic. They want to see it in what's it like, Disney form or TV. And that's fine. But if you don't have the underpinning of nature, then the magic is in watching the sunrise.
Yeah.
That's magic. So too much or not enough actual. I like it, Ren. There's absolutely.
So I think Roots, Rocks, and Blooms, that's sort of happening in the herbal community, where there's Instagram witches. There's also Instagram herbalists. I think that some of the more right, showy looky instead of sort of feeding,
all right. And yet the funny thing is, it is interesting that even on Instagram, I do get some of the younger witches will follow me, and I do wonder sometimes why that is, but then I think that's actually quite useful because hopefully, not me specifically, but other witches that I connect with, like Ren and Louise and others, they will get that from them.
Simon's here!
Oh my God! Hi, Danny. How are you?
I'm excited now.
I was talking about you earlier.
It's your fault, Simon.
Yeah, everything's your fault, my lovely. I'm still looking forward to coming up and seeing you. I'm desperate to get to Sherwood Forest.
Yes, when I come, I'm gonna have such a long list of people to visit.
Oh, that'll be amazing.
Yes.
I was talking about you.
Yeah.
I also haven't forgotten our road trip. Don't think you're getting out of that road trip. You're not getting out of the road trip.
Oh, please film it.
No, that was it. I said to him, we need to do a road trip, the Hermit and the Madwitch. Can you imagine him being stuck in one of those little VW camper vans with me?
Yes, I think it'd be great.
I think he might kill me.
Oh no!
I long for the road trip. So do I, Simon. Come on. You can drive. I'll do the navigating, right? And it'll be, oh, look, there's a squirrel. Sorry. Back on focus. Where do we get to?
I was just saying, I think that's really good that some of the younger witches have been feeling like they're, feel like they connect with you enough to follow you. So I think that's really good that, and hopefully that will help with sort of this issue with the aesthetics and all that stuff.
I love it when my kids will say to me, they look at me mortified and embarrassed, and then they'll say something to their friends and they'll go, yeah, Mum thinks she's a witch, and their friends go, oh, that's really wonderful, oh, tell me more, and they're like, oh my God. So, yeah.
It's like everything your parents do is embarrassing. But yeah, I'd have the same reaction. I'd be like, oh, tell me, please.
I like to be embarrassing to my children. It's payback time.
Oh my gosh. So how should we let's do you have any witchy books you wanted to share?
No, I haven't pulled out any witchy books.
Okay, that's fine.
I've just got all my herbal stuff out.
Well, that's fine. We'll that's there's plenty of I know that there's plenty of videos on witchy books, so maybe another time.
Absolutely.
What when we have yes. I realized this morning that I had herbal books down, but I didn't have witchy books. So briefly, how do you use herbs in your craft? Like how I don't know. And then you put up some of your journals on Instagram. Yeah. I don't know if you have any of those. Or do you call them? What do you call them when you?
My massive great grimoire. I've got several. Jesus, where are they? Hold on. This one is the working one. So ooh. Now this one that's down to Ren. Ren was the one who first showed her grimoire, and all I did with this one was I literally took an lever arch file and I just collaged it to death. And
great.
What I did with this one was I just put everything in plastic wallets. But the one that I showed on Instagram earlier, that was one I made from scratch, and I kind of use them together. This one is the one that. This is like I would take this downstairs if I want to cook a recipe, or when I'm making some potion for cleaning the floors, or just using everything that like there's a whole section of
so that's all like the kind of the herbally thing, the planty things.
Yeah. So in my index I'll have domestic witch keeping, crystals, herbology, garden witchcraft, and then so that way then when I want to do magical, if I want to spring clean the house, which I don't do very often because I like my cobwebs, but I've got a domestic witchcraft section, and so it's so some of it's so basic, some of it's like floor sweeping and how to use your broom or what herbs to put into a floor wash, and that's kind of oh Simon, you are darling. Do I ooze? I like
to ooze.
I ooze. I'm never ever going to live that way. I ooze. There you go. So it's got. So this one is like that's
awesome.
The other one is kind of more everything is I watched somebody make this amazing grimoire, but then they kind of took prints of pictures and pages, whereas I've gone to doing it very old school and literally having to write everything out with ink and draw everything. And the reason I've done that is because otherwise it's not real. And so what I tried to do, which I kind of fell out of rhythm with, was taking a plant or a tree and drawing it and taking all the, books that I had, and hopefully, I don't know if you can see them. Hold on. Simon, I love you too. Do you know what? I'll get you back for this one. I will. I'm not oozing, and I'm not. It calls me a plum tomato. That started from me calling him a tossed salad. We're not going there.
Oh, okay, we're not. No,
come in, Simon, and cause all this ruction. So I would take all my books and I would put it all in bad Simon. So yeah, and that's how it was. So the grimoire that I'm kind of putting together now is where I would put all the stuff that is long term, whereas that's kind of like your big recipe book that I would have downstairs in the kitchen.
Right,
trees drip, Giselle oozes. Oh, look now, you've got everyone doing it. Okay, I ooze. You wait, Simon. I'm going to have you for this one. You just wait till I come to Nottingham, and I am coming. Make no mistake about it. So yeah, so that's my grimoires. But they don't. There's a whole section of journals that are separate to even that, and I've kind of lost momentum on it. But I start with I don't even know where one is. So this one I have just recently started, and this is like a day-to-day journal.
Okay.
So I started sticking leaves in there. I think journaling is something that witches love to do.
I love
this one. All I do is stick in tarot stuff and herbs, and I write up if I do spreads. So that doesn't form part of my grimoire. That is just, and look, that's how far behind I am. But I used to spend days, weeks, months on writing them all up. I don't do that quite so much now, but the grimoire is perhaps more important because that is the study. So it's more about really getting down to the bones of what I need to learn. So yeah, and I love it with a passion.
Yeah,
I use passion, Simon.
Well, thank you for sharing. Maybe one day I don't know if you did like a video on all your journals, but that'd be great.
Simon, you don't need to apologize. I love you to bits. But yes, I've done a couple of my journals.
I guess I've missed them. Whoops.
No, because I think they go way back. Occasionally I put them on Instagram, but I haven't been doing that for a while, and I need to kind of get back into that. And yeah, I did do one very early on YouTube, so I will. And they do seem to be people love them.
Yeah,
I loved yours. I absolutely loved yours when you did your grimoire. It was very special. But I think it's like everything. There's a certain degree that you don't share, which is fine, and I respect that completely. But I think it's lovely that if people get inspired from it, as I did with Wren's, that they can do that. And Jennifer, and not Jennifer. Oh my God, and her name's gone. No, it's completely gone. Oh, she does her journals. I'm trying to think what her name is. But as soon as you put a video up of journaling, witchcraft journaling, it's popular.
I mean, I've been trying to put up like a video of my tarot journal forever, and I got like,
that's brilliant.
This is one from the Truth and Story using multiple decks.
Wow.
But I just, I've got, I had a lot of time at some point. This is like, I used to like transpose like YouTube videos. So this is like Jesse Huntenberg's like court. I don't know. So, but I have been trying. I've been trying to do an herbal something for a long time, and I just don't have the time. So yeah, one day I'll have a tarot journal.
I mean, when you look back, when you go back, I mean, this is, I don't know how many I've done now, but when you start to go back over them and reread them, they're quite. Jessica, thank you, Wren. Jessica, the story witch. Thank you.
Yes, she does.
These when I started rereading them, I thought, oh, they're fascinating. And then you see a deck that you haven't used for ages, like Pagan Other Worlds, and I'm like, oh my god, I got to get that deck out. Crazy for that deck, you know. So where would I be without you, Ren?
I don't.
Actually, I need to speak to Ren after. I must touch base with you, Ren. Remind me to do that, please.
I'm still but yeah, like I really when I first got down the tarot rabbit hole, I started this journal, and I really did start, but I wasn't working at the time, so
I mean, I love it, but you know, this just proves it.
I always loved journals. Yeah.
I literally just put in my vegetable garden for the next year, how I wanted to plant it, and my herbs, and wrote out all the seeds, and that's.
Oh, I wanted. Yes, keep that handy, because I wanted to. I got some garden questions.
Go on then.
Me. Oh. Well, we're gonna.
Where are we at now then?
We're gonna. So thank you for. We're gonna do herbs. Yeah, we're gonna jump. So So what was your earliest experience with herbal medicine? Did you grow up using it, like in your family, or did you be like, what is this?
No, funnily enough, I didn't actually. I didn't have. My father loved his garden, and he would spend a lot of time out there, and he was very green-fingered, and his garden was beautiful. But I didn't take a huge amount of interest. I can remember being very, very small, and I used to love to wander through at the back of the garden, of the border. There were these like sort of 3 foot, 4 foot high phlox. I don't know if you would know what they are in America, but they're these beautiful, big, really lovely flowers. And I'd go through them like they were a jungle. So I've always had a love of nature, but no, my herbal interest really didn't start until much later. Culinary use predominantly. I can remember when I was going through the early parts of menopause and PMS and what have you, my doctor, and I will thank her till the day I die, when I said to her, you know, I need something to cope with it, the first thing she recommended was evening primrose. And evening primrose is such a powerful plant. I don't know that it comes under whether it's classed as a herb, because interestingly, it's not in some of these. It's big, isn't it? It's not. It's a. I mean, it's not. Don't know, but yeah.
Maybe it's not one that a lot of herbalists use, but I do know it as an herb that is used.
So I didn't have a huge knowledge, and so I'm kind of playing catch up. I know the normal herbs, but what I'm finding is that once you start getting into plant lore, generally, it doesn't matter whether it's a herb or a tree or a plant, it's got all of that magic, all of those different energies, and that makes the whole thing more interesting again. So, which is why I started to create that's why what you saw in here is every year I would want to plan out my garden, and that's, you know, what I would do. I would sow a magical herb bed for just growing herbs to use in. You asked whether I use them in witchcraft, so yes, definitely, but I'm still quite new to it. So bay is a herb. I think you asked if I had a favorite, or you were going to ask. I love bay. Bay is a big herb for me.
Yeah, it was. Yep. What is one of your favorite herbs?
It's bay is powerful in magic. It's a big protection, and I love the I love the associations when you start putting spell work together. And I don't do much, but if I do, I love using lavender. When I use herbs a lot for incense. That's kind of where I started, was apart from culinary use, was more in making incense, or like with lavender, I would make lavender pillows, lavender sachets to go in your wardrobe. So these are really mundane day-to-day stuff, but you're using nature in its proper form, which I like doing. And then slowly I'd get more confident. I would use rose petals for, love and peace with lavender, and then you get the basil for protection. You bring all of these things together, so that wonderful association of each different herb coming into what's like making a cake. They're all the ingredients that pull it together. So that's the extent probably of my knowledge. I don't have necessarily a great vast knowledge yet. I grew mugwort for the first year, but then I found I had mugwort growing, and it's like a giant in my garden. I'm like, my God,
it will take over.
Just a bit. So I've got a box of it, and I don't know what to do with it. So
well, you could put it in one of your pillows. It's supposed to help with, dreaming, like having strong dreams, or and
it's good for tea as well, isn't it?
I think it's not that tasty.
I've had it. You do need to kind of sweeten it. It's not the easiest tea. It's not the best, but to form part of something else is quite good. So
mugwort. I think also you can use it for. So we went over mugwort in our book that we're reading for book club. See, for me, like, it's hard for me to remember. So it's bitter when you drink it as a tea. So they're saying it's good for your liver and digestion.
Yeah, that sounds a bit. When I can do with it for my liver.
Yeah, prophetic dreams. That's what I was trying to. Yeah, so you can. That's what mugwort is for. Menstrual cycle. Good for, like, if you're not getting your period, to bring it on.
I shan't be drinking that anytime soon.
Yeah, it's supposed to be good for grief.
Apparently, it's called Naughty Man mugwort. Oh,
really? Man. I haven't heard that common name.
Harry. It's a witch herb. Sailor's tobacco.
In my book, one of the common names is Old Woman.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Old Woman and Naughty Man.
So I've got this from Scott Cunningham's.
Oh, okay. This is I've had some crazy experiences with mugwort. Yeah, you got to be careful. It could be. So this is the book we're doing for book club. A weed white remedy. And so it's more like a folk herbalism for the hedge wise. So there's a little bit of like magic in this book too. But yeah, so I sometimes I feel like I need to put like the herb. It's herbs on flashcards and memorize it, but
it says it's for clairvoyance. So I'm guessing, Louise, you had some clairvoyant experience with it. And to scrying and divination senses.
It's cleansing and protecting. So I really like it.
It can cause dermatitis, apparently.
Oh.
I don't know.
It's got a real thick stalk. You have to cut it with like clippers, stuff like that. Oh, I was going to ask you about the bay. About the magical.
I did have it open actually. I did open it to look up bay. I've used bay in everything. The amount of times I've thrown it into a casserole, and I think it's protection, clairvoyance, exorcism, purification, and healing. I just know it as being a really powerful one. And I have it outside my back door. So, oh, bless.
I don't know if he's all white.
He's off. No. So yeah. So from a plant point of view, I would say that bay is a herb that I've always used in cooking, but now I use in spell work. Yeah, good. All round. Are we talking about mugwort or bay, Ren? Which is the good all rounder? Mugwort. It's all around my garden, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's. I mean, like I've seen fields of mugwort. Like,
yeah, nobody told me that.
Don't turn it under or break because it's got these little tiny like roots. Oh, if you break off a little bit of it, it'll just like grow more. But if you want more, like, I mean.
No, see, the thing is, my garden is full of those kind of weeds. I have all the most aggressive type of weeds. So if the mugwort is more aggressive than those weeds, I'm not complaining. But we have I don't know if it's part of the nettle family, but the nettle family is very similar and does that same ground cover rooting. And I do use my nettles now, and therein lies another thing. The witch doesn't see the nettle in her garden and moan about it, and right. You use it. I mean, I've been stung plenty enough, but at the end of the day, I do just pull them up and use them. And same with the comfrey. Comfrey is another one that is. I don't buy fertilizer for the plants or anything now. I use my own comfrey, which was kindly donated by my mentor, and I have 2 pots of that free. Yeah. I like the idea of working with the land and not having to buy chemicals when I've got nature right there, so
I mean, that's the best thing about the herbs, and even the little bit of comfrey root can grow another comfrey plant. Comfrey is one of the ones in my pots. And it's just very hardy. It does like some shade. It just gets all wilty in the sun. But I mean, a friend of mine, apparently their garden, they got mowed over some comfrey, and now there's this comfrey like everywhere. So, but those are like the best plants, and those are the plants that herbalists like love because those are the plants that are medicinal, and you want a lot of them. You want, you're not sad, except if there's like I think burdock is a little hard because you get all those burrs.
Oh, I haven't got burdock.
And my friend has it, and we were like cleaning her garden out, and it was you get covered in them, so that's not fun, but forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, sorry, completely.
Where have we got to? I don't know.
I want to just ask you about your garden, and then we'll get to books. And we will get to books. We'll finish off with books.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
So you already told us about your garden, but what are your favorite plants to grow? And then I guess what are you have your plan there. What are you planning on growing like this year?
Well, this year I did the herbs.
Next year, sorry.
Yeah, I mean it's been a love-hate relationship with my garden, and it took a long time. It was very overgrown at the back with laurels, and these were big tree-like laurels that just darkened everything. And I kind of nagged and moaned to get them sort of removed. So my garden has changed over the years quite a lot. It started very much about, I loved roses, so I wanted roses everywhere. I loved lavender. I loved that twee English cottage garden. But my garden, the soil was very thin. I have 2 massive yew trees in the garden as well, not to mention a holly tree down the bottom and various other plants. So, and I didn't really know enough about how to work with what I had. So I'd throw into it what I wanted, but that didn't necessarily always going to work. So I've learned from trial and error, blood, sweat and tears, and a lot of tears. And I kind of got to the point where I said, well, you know, I can't keep putting my heart and soul into this. You know, so I'm going to grow vegetables, because vegetables are practical, and there's not that, when you lose something, when it dies, there's not that heartbreak. So over the years, it's become both. And there's pockets, if you've watched my videos, you know, there's pockets of there's a rose bed one place, there's, you know, herbs in another. So and it continues to grow. This year, one of the things that I've done is I've taken apples from the ancient orchard, and I've taken the seeds and I've tried to pot them up to see if I can generate some new trees, because they are so old. Now I'm very inexperienced. I don't know anything about this, but I know those trees are not grafted, and I know a lot of apple trees are, but I'm pretty damn sure they're not. So I've taken them and I've kind of said, well, you know, it's either going to work or it isn't. So that's my way of respecting and working with the planet. I grow my magical herbs to use in my incense and to make teas. I've got a lot of lemon balm. I love lemon balm. It's one of the best things for digestion and, you know, healthy all-round gut working. And so equally, you even have a wonderful setup at your caravan. Love it. Yeah, I don't know how long I'll have the caravan for now, because obviously my job finishes in December after 12 years, which was hard because financially that was difficult. Possibly losing the sea isn't great, but the flip side of it is I kind of wanted that year to work with my garden. So I want to work on the garden, work with my sewing, my craft, really incorporate all my herbal study. And to do that, I can, and also the tarot deck that I have started to create. Yeah, it does, Simon. But I'm trying to, the way I look at it is I work from home. So the idea is that I will get up in the morning the way I would normally, and I will go and work on my tarot deck. And then I will go off and do the garden or sewing or whatever. But every aspect of my life then becomes my craft. And that for me is, yeah, that's the best experience. I'm very, very lucky that I could do that I won't be able to do it forever, I don't think, unless I suddenly get really lucky and sell loads of tarot bags. But or my tarot deck takes off, I don't know. But who knows? The good thing is, thank you, Ren. I love you to bits. I love the drawing. I love the illustration. I love the calmness and the peace of mind that I get with doing that. And I can incorporate into it the garden. I can bring my craft into every aspect of my life. And that is why I consider myself to be exceptionally blessed in that regard, because that is the best gift the goddess could give me, is that year to just hone my craft, to read all my books, to sew, to garden, and to create. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm just gonna cottage witch it for a bit. I think that's what you used to be called, Ren, the cottage witch. Yeah, that. We'll see. At the end of the day, you know, if I, you know, can sell my incense, so I'm going to give it a go. Sell my tarot bags, maybe my tarot deck. maybe even model some more goddesses out of clay or something else. I don't know. I love the fact that I can wake up and a new idea will just spring into my head and I go, oh, I'm going to give that a go. And off I go in another time.
Yes,
never one path.
We will, Simon. We would definitely. Yes.
I got to think it, yeah. Drawing Simon's head was a challenge. So yeah, and also I want to try and incorporate a few famous, not famous as in famous, but famous in our community. So if you want to be in my tarot deck, just let me know.
What, me?
Well, anyone. You could.
Yes, I will. I will be in.
How sweet is that? Bless her. I love this bit. So yeah, that's my garden, really.
That sounds awesome. I mean, I was I lost my job due to the pandemic, and I was laid off for 5 months, and even though things were very uncertain, it was really nice to have that time, and then I had to go to a full-time job, and it's really hard not to have that time because I do work for money, but all of my work and all important other stuff I don't do for money. So I'm sort of I'm very busy out of work, and but my friend and I are working on an herb school, so it'll be part online and part in person outside because of the pandemic. So so there's some of that. So yeah, that's awesome. I think it's a very wonderful thing to give yourself a chance to do this. So yeah, I think that's great.
And that's why I've got to grab it. So let's face it, I need a year to get through all these books.
You do, and there's more. There's always more herbal books, right? On that note,
there's more books.
On that note, what do you got? Show us.
I'm gonna. Okay, I'll make this quick because I know we're doing 2 hours. But Tuthwyn Penry, for those of you who don't know her, is a amazing Welsh witch who I absolutely adore, and she has a lot of books out, and I cannot recommend her enough. I've got the 3 of the Valerie Ann Warwood. You're going to know these: the Fragrant Pharmacy, the Fragrant.
Oh yeah, I have her.
Hold on. These are amazing books.
I have this one.
Wow, yes, I think I've got that one. Yes, I have got that one. Even I've got to be so careful. I nearly bought that twice. Yeah. I am the worst. I'm so bad when it comes to book.
The 2 hours is not quite hard and fast. So if we over,
this is a nice book. You've got 4 images in here. I think I've picked up a few over the years, but I have so many books that I've dipped into and not finished reading. And I suppose the book that I wanted the most was the very old Mrs. Grieve, who doesn't have, and the Culpepper, which is in here somewhere. I've got Culpepper somewhere. Can't see him now. He's around. He must be in the other room. And they kind of link together. And then you get Scott Cunningham, who's taken all the old ones and put them together as well. So I think that it's nice to have the old ones. I wanted that. But you could just as easily go with Scott Cunningham's, wherever it is, that one. And what I like about this is that it does keep it quite simple. So you've got the folk name, then you've got the gender, the planet, the element, the powers, and the magical uses. So it's maybe not as in depth as this book, but it kind of condenses everything. So it's a good starting point, I think, with the Scott Cunningham books, to be honest. although he's Wiccan, that doesn't faze me at all. I did have to laugh. Where was I reading it? Oh, I can't remember which book it was in now. I was writing up on ferns today, and there was a book in one. There was an extract in one book that said that the root was really good to be crushed and burnt to ash in the Great Rite. For those of you who know what the Great Rite is, and I'm like, okay, so just pop that in my grimoire. So there's some lovely things in the older books that you maybe would be censored out or changed. Not necessarily about that, but just the way it's written. So I think it's nice to have a bit of everything. And I have to mention, obviously, everyone.
Yes. And you know that she is from my town.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, they have a store called the Herberry in.
Oh, you lucky thing!
In Asheville, yeah.
And I've got the herbal tarot, and I've got the herb crafters, which both of which work really well if you're doing study. And I absolutely do have to recommend the botanical inspirations.
Okay.
So that's kind of me pulling it all together. And how moving forward, I hope I can use this year to bring it all together. That's my plan anyway. Who knows?
That sounds like a good plan, right? Who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows? But tree hugging is essential.
Definitely. Yeah, a lot of the herbalists still find, I think there's a lot of value in those old books to see where we've come from. And also it's nice to see what we still maybe use today in like a similar fashion. So I think a lot of history, because, a lot of it sort of has been lost. And so I think, it's cool. I've got this one, which is really neat. That's old. This is the Herbalist.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love the old books.
And
I have one. By, Jennifer? Who's that by?
This is by Joseph Mayer. What is the book?
You need to put that up because that's the kind of book I'd want to get.
I think you can still find it. There's hold on. Here's the bug. Let me go on the line, on the.
With Deaf Trouble, the minute somebody recommends a book, you can guarantee they're going to win it.
Yeah, there we go.
You're going to tell me it's going for silly money
now. No, actually it's not. So this is the book.
Oh, okay.
Yes. That's it.
Oh, I think I've heard of him.
And it looks.
I've heard of him.
You can still get it on.
Book? Is it? It's a good book.
Yeah, it's really neat. And so don't go to Amazon, but it is on Thrift Books for hold on, for like. They have one for like $17. I'll put that. Oh, I can't put that. Too long a link.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So don't go to Amazon. It's really expensive, but it is still available. I've got 2 copies. I've got one with the jacket and one without the jacket because my mom bought me one, and then Heather Foley bought me one, so I have 2 copies, and it's really neat. Like
fun.
I know, that one has the bug in it. Ugh. Okay, now it's on the floor. It's a real creepy one, which is good. Now it's just running around the floor, but it has like the herbs, like the common names, the medicinal uses. It's got that. But it's got like, it talks about different teas, dyes. It talks about herbs used for dyeing. Like how to get like all the colors, like blue, yellow, red.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
There's a lot. Let's see. I think there's a little bit on some incense and stuff like that too. Potpourris, wines.
Yeah, that's how I started with potpourris.
Mead is really easy to make, and I really like that. I've made a mead.
Too sweet for me.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to try that. It's a bit sweet.
I don't know what a curio is, but and then they have a color bit in the back too, like some color.
That's lovely. That's beautiful. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, so it's real fun. And yeah, you can still find it. They must have made like 1 billion copies, but also I think there's several printings. Wow. So the first edition was in 1918.
Wow.
And the revised and enlarged edition was in 1960. So I think this was a 1960 edition. It's got those colors.
It's older than me.
Yeah, so
it's a good book.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Smoking flavor. Let's see. So it's medicinal plants. Oh, vitamins and minerals. So it has like a section that shows what vitamins and minerals are in the plants, beverage teas, colors for food and cosmetics, dyes, potpourris, sachets, gargles, disinfectants, cosmetics, and I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's a cool one. So yeah,
I love it. Louise says I feel a bit Maid Marian when I've been on the mead. What does that actually mean? Do you run around Nottingham Forest going, Robin, wherefore art thou?
Yeah, I can't actually have the mead, but because it's from, I have a hard time with the yeast. Like I can only drink like hard liquor, like.
Excellent. That's my kind of girl.
Yeah, but I'm very like, I don't drink a lot, so you know,
that's brilliant. It's really she can only drink hard liquor. Must be a witch. I love it. That's brilliant.
Oh man.
So I do need to have a year too, because that's only one section. There is just as many witch books that I have to read. So yeah. So mead wine brings back happy memories for Simon. Do you want to share, Simon? We'd all like to hear about your mead. I can just imagine you being very merry, a merry little hermit on some mead.
I mean,
next time we meet up, Simon, I am going to bring a bottle of mead.
Oh, I love it because you know, you make a tea and then you add honey and then basically you add yeast to it and it ferments.
Okay,
and it's really cool. Like you can do anything you want to it. But yeah, my father-in-law is still asking. Like I made this mead. Like I took mead class like 6-7 years ago, and he's just like, "Where's my mead?" And I'm like, "Oh God, I guess I have to make some more. I can't even drink mine." But I like the process a lot. So and it's very, you know, and like you can definitely like have like 5 gallons or something here. You can make it. It's legal, and as long as you don't sell it. But you know, I mean, 5 gallons of mead is a lot.
It's just too sweet for me. But I'll take your word for it. Don't worry. I shall look forward to seeing Merry Hermit on his mead.
Oh my! If I can make a merry, and someone needs to make a merry hermit mead. Have to work on that name. The mead of the. Never mind. Okay, I don't know. All right. Well, I guess we should.
2 hours.
Call it a call it. So don't go anywhere because we'll just have a quick chat after we go off live. I want to thank Giselle Madwitch for coming and chatting. It was amazing. Check out her channel. Links are at the description. This will be up on YouTube tomorrow. It takes like 24 hours for it to come up as a replay, but it is on the Stories from the Earth YouTube Facebook group right now, and the link is also in the description. So if you want to join, if you want to come on and talk about herbs, you know, oh, thank you, Simon. I'm glad you could come and
make me now the boozy witch.
The boozy witch.
No, I'm the boozy. Oh my God! Don't add to it. Don't give me more ammunition. But thank you, Jennifer, for having me, and thank you to everyone who's stuck with us. And I've had a lovely time. It's been so lovely. It's like chatting to an old friend for a long time, and we've been had a laugh. So thanks, guys, for having me.
Yes, thank you. Okay, guys. Well, we will be back in December. So I'm gonna have 3 interviews in December, and the first one is the first Tuesday in December at 12 p.m. Eastern. So anyway, Mary Hermit and the Boozy Witch. Yes.
I love you, Simon.
There we go.
Thank you.
That's gonna be your road trip title. All right, guys. Bye. I'm hitting the buy button. So thank you, everyone.
Bye.